we have Mr. B. Senthil Kannan, Vice President, Finance Transformation. He is going to talk on how to effectively build models to engage students when they join industry. Mr. Senthil Kannan.
So, good afternoon. Okay, if I were to ask you in this great town of Tirunelveli, what is the single most thing that you would like to say about your city? Any one or two quick answers, because you are eating into my time. Halwa? Then? Sorry, any one answer, please? Temple. Okay. Fine. Control comes back to me. Yeah. I'm a buff of Tamil literature. I think most of you would have heard about writer Sujata. I hope yes, right? Once he was asked, which dialect of Tamil fascinates you? Prompt came the reply, Nellai Tamil. I think the people are very sweet, as you mentioned, as sweet as the famous Iruttugadai Alva. And also this place has a very rich tradition in terms of the national movement, right? Right from Kattabomman to Subramanya Bharati, this place had a very good, rich tradition of life. And I am not sure many of people from Tirunelveli will know that at least 8 Sahitya Academy Award winners hail from this district. So it is very refreshing and it is very honorable to stand in this podium and in this great town. And thank you very much, ICT, for having given me this maiden opportunity in this great town. And I have a small nostalgia as well. I spent 2 years of my elementary school life in St. Mary's School, Thuthukudi. So I could not help getting nostalgic here. So thank you very much. And we talked about engagement, effective engagement models, right? Okay. This one. Yeah, okay. I think, why don't you do it? I'll just say the next slide. Okay. Next slide, please. I think next one. Yeah. Next one. Next. Yeah, okay. First, let's make something clear. In the next 10 minutes or so, this is not an education session. Neither I am going to prescribe anything for all educators especially. All that what I thought I could do was, we are also consuming Gen Y students. I think Reena talked about what Gen Y is. By the way, I could not help thinking, if we are talking about Gen Y, what should we talk about Dr. K.N. Vishweshwaran or Dr. Keshav Swami, Generation A, or even before that? Or what should we talk about my daughter who was born on 2011? Generation Z or ZZAA? God help it. Anyway, so, but what I thought I could do is, we are also consuming the Gen Y students into our workforce. Yes, sir? Yeah, welcome to the club. Okay. So, we have, in industry, we have some practices. We also meet with the same challenges. And we have some opportunities as well. I thought that we could share some perspectives so that you can apply back in your environment to whatever extent. And as Mr. Swaminathan mentioned this morning, all it takes is to make difference to one person. And if that accomplishes, it is successful then. And I think I wanted to make a mention about English speaking skills, especially this is a common complaint about people coming from tier 2 or tier 3 cities, but I beg to differ. To me, that per se is not a limitation, provided the other things are there, the passion, the will to learn, and the aptitude to learn, the willingness to commit, hard work, the good old values are there. That has never been a showstopper. At least I can be there. I am heading a 100-member team. At least 40 or 50 will not pass the muster of English-speaking skills. But they are scholars or they are competitive in their own merit in the chosen field. So my suggestion to you will be, if any complaints you hear about English-speaking skills, please take it with a pinch of salt. Focus on what is really needed for employability. I just thought that I could mention. Next, please. Okay, let me talk about what do we mean by engagement. Engagement and nichedatama. What else? I think that is what we commonly come across, right? What exactly is engagement? First, it is emotional connect. People should feel that I am engaged. say between a teacher and a student, between educator and a student, that feeling should come. That yes, there is an engage. How do I know? It will influence the behaviors in a positive way. The student might turn up to this class better. His behavior with the peers, his co-students, his teacher will turn for the better. Or he might submit your assignments on time. He might show some very great interest on the papers that whatever you have given. So if at all these things do happen, then you are engaging. And what is the result of engaging? It enhances the trustworthiness. Because when it comes back to the workplace, work has to be done more on a matter of trust. Customers trust us, clients trust us, and that has to begin with the schools. Then it enhances the communication, and it enhances the pride of being associated with doing something big. So these are some important points. So next time, what I would request you to take away is to evaluate on your own, whenever you are interacting with students, don't think it as a mere lecture or a classroom session. Spend some time on whether you are engaging in all these ways and whether the trust and communication levels are increasing day by day between your students. Next, please. I think I am skipping this slide. Reena explained in much more detail and eloquence than what I wanted to do here. I am skipping the next one. This one, I think I would try to give a slightly different perspective here. One way, or rather it's a question, let us not treat students as something like a giver-taker relationship. It's not something that I am in a giving position, you are in a taking position. Rather, is there a possibility whether we can think of students as being partners in getting educated, especially in this digital age? All of us know getting access to knowledge is very immediate, right? As Google is there, so I can get to know anything. So the moment that way, then you are treating students as professionals. Just like organizations treat employees as professionals, students become professionals. They are learning workers. Then they will have their own job objectives, their own learning plan. They will be empowered, meaning students have to be allowed to do something. Maybe I don't want to dwell in detail. Perhaps you might want to think around these lines. And we are more than happy, we from industry are more than happy to partner with you on this and how to treat it in this perspective. Next one, I think I'll skip here. I just thought I could share with you some 5 themes when it comes to engagement, 5 broad themes, and in the process I can explain 1 or 2 anecdotes where it helped. First one is big picture connect. I think Dr. Keshav Swami was talking about application mindset. This is exactly that. If I know why I am doing what I am doing, then the results will always be better. So I emphasize on why something, for every minute that the student spends in the classroom or elsewhere, try to spend some time on why he has to do or she has to do on that. I'll give an example. I'm skipping some of the points. I'll straight away get into an anecdotes. In one of my teams, he was a graduate, engineering graduate. I just gave him an assignment to compare 2 Excel sheets. He has to compare 200 rows and see if there are any discrepancies. To him it sounded as very mundane. It is very, very natural. He was idellam pandradhukku na engineering pannirukano. That kind of a thought. It was not progressing the way I wanted it to be. I called him and said, do you know what you are doing? Indadala correcta kandupidichu, if you are able to figure out that errors, it has the potential to save $2 million. There is an error for $2 million. And we want to figure it out. So saving or removing $2 million is in your hands. The moment I gave the picture to him, you should see the result. Within half an hour, he spotted that. So this is important. So be it RDBMS or be it anything, please tell them why he or she has to spend that time. Next one, learning styles. I think Mr. Vishwanathan talked about kinesthetic style. Kinesthetic is what? Learning by doing. Today, during our days, most of the learning was through auditory mode. There will be a podium, there will be a lecture, there will be a textbook, you read. But now it will be shifting from auditory mode to visual and kinesthetic. Not big words, ரொம்ப simple தான். What is visual? What is visual? See, right? Whatever you want to see, oliyum, we talked about it, right? That's what. So during your teaching, whatever you are teaching content to see, how you can increase the visual content. How you can use tools like, say, YouTube or any wikis. You need not spend much time. You ask the students, they have a passion for all these kind of stuff. So ask them to create the content. I told you that you can partner with the students. Ask them to create the content and get into a discussion mode rather than through the teaching mode. Increase the visual content. And second one is kinesthetic, knowing more by doing. Ask them to do. I think Dr. Vishweshwaran also talked about doing something. So give them more application-oriented examples. And we in industry, if you think that you don't have adequate problems, please come to us. We have a big laundry list of big problems to get solved. We will give ample opportunities there. During our days, when we want to submit proposals to clients, we will write 600 pages of proposals after proposals. One fresher, he came up with the idea of saying, instead of writing this proposal, why don't we do a simple HTML prototype that would take only 2 days of time, that will give the end user a view of how the eventual application will look like. And imagine what, we did it, and we won the bid purely because of that reason. So please, I just wanted to share this example and take back home to see what extent you can apply that. Next, please. A need for autonomy. I think it was talked about. Students need that autonomy. Students need that independence. My only thing is that I think there was a talk about whether people are not respecting, students are not respecting. Yeah, they do respect, not your authority, but what value you bring to the table, for what you do to them. For that, they do respect. So let us try to accommodate this changing independence. I can think of, I mean, they are purposive, they are passionate. We need to attach that. Let me take 1 minute. There, I could not help imagining a town. She was not even a tier 2, tier 3. She was from a tier 4. I was interviewing her. Without any hesitation, she asked me, "Sir, I can't speak in English in fluent. In fluent English, I cannot speak. But whatever you ask, I can answer in Tamil. Is it okay?" I said, "Fine." We talked about it. I tested it in the ultimate way possible. I gave her some very severe tests. I made her to work through some overnight work, asked her to create some presentation, and she did all that. 3 years later, now she is a subject matter expert in one of the leading banks in West Asia. So please respect that independence. We never know where the seats are. Just quickly, the next one. Feedback, I think it was talked about. Only point I would like to add is, let us not stop with giving feedback. Ask feedback. You as educators, ask feedback. I want to stop on this one. I have a simple 3 principles. What should I stop doing? What should I start doing? What should I continue doing? Ask these feedback questions as frequently as possible, and you will be in for a surprise with your students. Next one. And I think most of us have talked about work ethics. Today, this is a very, very important problem that the industry is facing. Especially, I am coming from a bank, and I am not a HR person, but I am a line manager. I am their consumer. But there is a strong, I am not saying that people are not work ethical, but they have a lot of ambiguity and confusion. They need guidance. What does work ethic mean? The good old hard work, good old commitment, good old respect for doing it the hard way and learning it the hard way. So I can quote at least 3 examples in the last 3 years, wherein 2 star performers had to leave because of our code of conduct violations. They did something which they are not supposed to do. Very, very brilliant minds, very bright chaps, but they did something which they are not supposed to do. Again, in a couple of cases intentionally, and in a case not intentionally. So please spend some time, at least 10 minutes per day, or once in a class. I think we should go back to the days where there used to be a moral class in our schools. But it is worth it. It is definitely worth it. As we all know, if one person changes that, that is of tremendous use. So this is the summary, and I just want to conclude with this thought. Next one. I could not find a better, tribute to this audience. You are all teachers, educators. You have the influence, or you have the power to make a difference to one life. Thiruvalluvar had made a very, very, only he can summarize it in such a beautiful terms. Thaam inburuvadu ulagin purakandu kaamuruvar kattarindar. First you learn, then you derive pleasure. Then you teach someone, then that person gets a pleasure, and you derive more pleasure. What else a teacher can ask for? Such a great community. My humble salutations on behalf of all of our speakers. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.